Look at this cracked, barren landscape. It perfectly captures the era of the biblical judges, a violent, chaotic period in Israel's history, where society repeatedly dries up and fractures. But tucked right in the middle of this turbulence is the Book of Ruth, the 8th book of the Bible. It steps away from the battlefield to focus on a quiet, domestic story of a single family. This photograph shows the sweeping, harsh terrain of Moab. When a severe famine strikes their hometown of Bethlehem, an Israelite man named Elimelech packs up his wife Naomi and their 2 sons and flees across the border into this foreign territory just to find food. But their relief does not last. Over the next 10 years, the family's structure completely collapses. First, Elimelech dies. The 2 sons eventually marry Moabite women named Ruth and Orpah, but then both sons pass away unexpectedly. Naomi is left destitute. In an ancient patriarchal society, where a woman's economic survival depends entirely on her husband or sons, she has lost all her protectors. She is aging, isolated in a foreign land, and entirely vulnerable. Hearing that the famine back home has ended, Naomi decides to make the long walk back to Bethlehem. She insists her daughters-in-law stay behind. She tells them to return to their mothers' homes to find new husbands, knowing she has absolutely nothing left to offer them. Orpah tearfully agrees and turns back, but Ruth stubbornly refuses to leave Naomi's side. She makes a famous pledge, promising to abandon her own homeland to follow Naomi, adopting the Israelite people and their God as her own. This vintage photograph shows a wide view of Bethlehem, the town where the 2 women finally arrive. The locals are shocked to see Naomi after a decade away, but Naomi tells them not to call her by her name, which means pleasant. Instead, she tells them to call her Mara, which means bitter. Naomi openly complains that God has brought her back empty. Her grief is so heavy that she is completely blinded to the incredibly loyal friend standing right next to her. She believes her story is over, but it is actually just beginning. To survive, the women need food immediately. Fortunately, ancient Israel had a built-in welfare system called gleaning. As you can see in this diagram of a typical farm field, the law required landowners to leave the outer edges and corners of their crops unharvested so that the poor and foreigners could gather enough to eat. Ruth takes the initiative. Rather than waiting for a handout, she steps into these fields to gather whatever leftover barley she can find to keep herself and her mother-in-law alive. She happens to pick a field owned by a wealthy, honorable man named Boaz. He notices how relentlessly Ruth works. Having already heard rumors of her extreme loyalty to Naomi, Boaz steps in. He offers her extra food from his own table and orders his workers to leave extra grain behind for her, ensuring she stays physically protected in his fields. The culture's built-in mechanism for poverty relief provided the exact legal framework needed for Ruth and Boaz to cross paths in a safe, legitimate way. That evening, Ruth returns home with a massive haul of grain. When she tells Naomi whose field she was working in, Naomi is stunned. Boaz is a close family relative. Look at this conceptual family tree. When the central figure, the husband, disappears, it leaves behind a void of financial and social ruin. To prevent this, ancient Israel relied on a specific cultural role called a kinsman redeemer, or in Hebrew, a goel. The first duty of a goel was financial. A wealthy relative would step into that void, pay off the deceased family member's accumulated debts, and buy back any ancestral land that had been sold off to survive. The duty went even further. The redeemer was also expected to marry the widow. This rescued her from extreme poverty and ensured that any children they had together would legally carry on the deceased relative's family name and inherit the reclaimed land. This practice gave Naomi a genuine path forward. It was the only culturally valid mechanism that could permanently rescue both her and Ruth from being erased from their society. This photograph shows an ancient threshing floor, the exact kind of place where Naomi sends Ruth to execute a risky plan. Under the cover of darkness, Ruth approaches Boaz while he sleeps at the threshing floor. She boldly asks him to spread his cloak over her, which is essentially a request for his legal protection and a proposal of marriage. Boaz wakes up startled, but he is deeply honored by her integrity. He agrees to act as her redeemer, but he reveals a major legal hurdle. There is another relative who is closer in line, meaning that man has the right of first refusal. The very next morning, Boaz goes straight to the town gate, seen here in these excavated ruins. In ancient times, the city gate was the public courtroom, where contracts were settled. Boaz presents the situation to the closer relative, who quickly declines the responsibility because of the high cost of buying the land and supporting a new wife. This legally clears the way for Boaz. Boaz could have tried to handle this quietly. Instead, his strict adherence to public legal protocol ensured that their union was culturally unassailable and recognized by everyone in town as an act of high integrity. With the legal path clear, Boaz officially purchases Elimelech's family land back and takes Ruth as his wife. Soon after, Ruth gives birth to a baby boy named Obed. The women of Bethlehem gather around Naomi, celebrating her new grandson. The bitter, empty woman who walked into town weeks earlier is now full of joy, her family line completely restored. And if we look at this vertical lineage tree, we can see how this single child triggers a massive historical ripple effect. From Ruth and Boaz, the line connects directly down to Obed. Obed grows up and has a son named Jesse. And Jesse eventually has a son of his own, a boy named David, who grows up to be King David, the most famous monarch in Israel's history and the direct ancestor of Jesus. The grand sweep of history is often told through epic battles and conquering empires. But here, the lineage of a king was secured simply because one vulnerable woman chose fierce loyalty and one man responded with extraordinary kindness.